Hey everyone, how are you? Happy Friday. It is nice out but cold, hence the hoodie, because New York does not understand what May means. It's almost May and it feels like March. I don't understand it, but I kind of like this weather. I don't like hot too much, even though I'm heading to South Carolina next week, and I'm sure it's going to be hot there. Like it's July, so I'm pretty much going from New York's March to Charleston, South Carolina's July. Yeah, that's probably what's going to happen here. But I just wanted to say thank you for coming back. I am so grateful for those of you that have been keeping up with this series. This ADHD series has been an eye opener, not just probably for others, but for myself as well, being a person with ADHD. I am enjoying doing them, and I know that even many years from now, when these videos are still up, people will be able to say, oh, it's still the same. Life is still the same for ADHD then and now. So just wanted to say before I get into anything to please subscribe because it helps other people to find my videos, and please give it a thumbs up. So on with this. So today we're going to talk about careers for people who have ADHD. If you're ADHD, you have probably spent far too much time trying to figure out what you want to do with your life when you were younger. And you may have found that you were going down one path and you were like, this is not the bee's knees for me. I need to do something else. Or you may have found yourself paralyzed by just what you can do to kind of make your way in this world and feel satisfied. So, I'm going to give you some things that I've gathered up, some careers that I've gathered up that I think may help you to maybe help you make a decision on what you want to do. Now, the funny thing is, as I go through this list, there's so many of them that I thought about doing, and I'm going to bring it to your attention just to kind of show you how it is being ADHD and trying to figure out what you want to do with your life. It's so much fun. But anyway, first thing we're going to start off with is I'm going to talk to you about job skills that most ADH adults possess. And some may more so be for you and some may not. It's all good. One of the things that I think is the biggest thing, and I can definitely say I have not come across anyone with ADHD that has not had this skill, is the ability to think outside the box. Everything that I think is like, did you think about blah blah? Did you think about this? How about this? That it's like my brain is always thinking about those type of things, and I think that's why I'm such a natural entrepreneur, is because for the most part when you're at a job you're not going to be given that type of freedom, but when you're by yourself and you're working for yourself, it's like the world is your oyster. You can try anything, and if it doesn't work, you're okay. You'll figure it out. You'll take that hit because you're willing to take that hit for yourself. But people trying to make money, they're not always trying to take that hit. So it's cool, but it's like still really cool to have that skill to think outside of the box, because I believe that skill makes the world better and it makes good things great. So yes. Works well under pressure sometimes. Sometimes when it's bearable pressure, when it feels like it's okay pressure. Every job has pressure. Everything you do being an entrepreneur is pressure. But I feel like yes, we tend to be those people that will put out a lot of fires. And even if it stresses us out, you'll never see it stress us out. And when we say we're stressed, we're probably super stressed. So, yeah, definitely, I would definitely say works well under pressure. I don't know about this one. I'm looking at my list and it says outgoing. I'm really good at talking to people, but that doesn't mean I want to be around 8,000 people all the time. That could be a bit much, but I am good in small groups. I like chatting with people. I know people today be like, could you like not chat with me? Cause I'm just not that person. There's a lot of those people on this earth, but I'm not that person. I can see times when I was that person, but I don't know if I'm as much. And maybe that's just something, that came with age. It could have. Ability to hyper focus. Oh, if nothing else, when we're into something, we can super hyper focus. It's like one of those things, if we enjoy something, we are in it. Like, we are in like Flint. I'm telling you, I'm that person too. When I'm doing something I love, time is of no essence. I'm just like, how many hours has it been? Okay, well, I'm back to work. Yeah, so that's a good way to figure out if you like something or not. If you feel like you're hyper focusing and time is just flying. Um, Finding one subject infinitely intriguing. That's kind of true too. Like, I'm a genealogist and I love searching for people, for the truth, for anything. And that probably comes from also being a journalism major in college. So all of that kind of ties together. And I feel like I can definitely hyper focus on that. And just genealogy as a whole just intrigues me. And I just love it, and I can definitely see how that's true. Empathetic. They say ADHD people are empathetic. I think because we go through so much, you can't help but to be empathetic to other people. I'm very empathetic, even though sometimes I probably may not come across like that to some people who really know me and I come out my face and say stuff. But for the most part, I am extremely empathetic. I read people well. I can tell when something's not right. I don't need somebody to tell me if something's not right. I can listen to the inflections in their voice, body language. I'm really good at reading those things, and that makes me a very empathetic person most of the time. Gotta have some boundaries, gotta have some limits, but um, problem solving complicated matters. Um, yeah, I think I have a really good ability to break things down, and figure them out. I just need the time to break it down. It's like if you rush me, it just flutters me, but I'm always like, take your time and give people time to figure things out. And I'm a firm believer in that. And I believe as a person with ADHD, that's definite. And the last thing I have as a good job skill that most people with ADHD have is natural leaders. I think natural leaders, but reluctant leaders, because I always feel like, and I just said this to my cousin, I said, the people who are the most reluctant to lead are usually the best leaders. The ones that are racing to be leaders usually are the worst leaders. And I say this from years in the work world, that there's always somebody that wants to be in charge and is not ready to be in charge. And I've always been hesitant to be in charge. Like, being an executive assistant for many years, I really am at a point in my life where I could manage people and be a very empathetic manager and probably do well because I'm very much a protector of people, especially people who are in the same boat or who were in the same boat I'm in. So it's like, yeah, I probably will be a great supervisor, but I've always ran from it. And I don't know if I want to run from it anymore. I think I would make an excellent one. And I feel like I owe it to the people out there who have had bad managers that they just need the right one, and maybe it's my time to shine. So, anyway, now we're going to talk about careers for people with ADHD. A lot of these I totally agree with, and I'm telling you, I think from each one of these categories that I have on my list, there is at least one or two of these that I have either done or wanted to do. So that means to be continued, probably, because life is still here. I still got life in me. I can still shift gears at any moment here. So, first thing, skilled trades. The funny thing is about skilled trades, there are two things that I had thought about that I wanted to do years ago. And I said if I never went to college, I would do this. I said I wanted to be a carpenter and I wanted to be a masonry person, a person that does brick walls and fireplaces and stuff like that. I'm just so intrigued by those two things. And I'm just like, why didn't I do this? Why didn't I do this? Why did I not think about these things? But there's so much there's so many things that today these younger people can do, and it totally falls outside of the realm of going to somebody's college. I always tell people, if you're not going to be a doctor, a lawyer, or an engineer, don't waste your money because you won't make it back. And the way people are sweating these student loans right now, including myself, I'm telling you, if I had to do it today, carpenter, mason, masonry. On this list, they have welders, painters, and electricians. All of these skilled trades, people make a ton of money. It's very hard for people to find people skilled in those areas. If you're having a hard time even thinking about spending money on college, go find a trade. Go do a trade. There's not enough people doing trades. It's honorable, great work. And I envy anybody in that field more so than anyone who went to college. I said it. So the next one is fast paced, meaning emergency responders. I totally can see this. Firefighters, police, emergency room, anything, doctors, nurses, work, any type of worker in a place where there's always like, you got to get up in there and fix stuff and fix people and save lives. Perfect for people with ADHD. It's like that adrenaline rush, like hits them dopamines, and I can totally see it. And if I tell you one time, many times, years ago when I was a kid, I wanted to be a doctor. There were two things I wanted to be: a doctor and an actress. And I was just like, this would be the thing. But I never thought along the lines when I thought about being a doctor. I never thought about emergency room doctor. But that totally would work with my brain. Totally with the ADHD brain. You know, you'd have sometimes when things are okay, and then next thing you know, I'm like, oh, wait a minute. Gotta save somebody's life, you know. I could totally see that happening. Empathetic. So we're now in the world of counselors, social workers, religious clergy, psychologists. I'm looking on the list here. I can definitely, see at one point in life, yeah, once again, I did think about being a counselor. I think the only reason I didn't at the time was that I felt like it was going to be one of those things that I was going to become too empathetic and carry that home with me. And I couldn't see myself carrying people's problems home like that. And I kept hearing about how people would get burned out in like 3 years. And I was like, I'm not spending money to go to grad school to be a social worker, to make a crappy salary being a social worker and burn out after 3 years. I was just like, nah, I'm good. I'm going to stay in my corner. But even till this day, I still feel like even just doing this YouTube channel, it kind of makes me a social worker, a counselor, because I'm helping people with health, motivation, mental health, ADHD. It's kind of the same, except I'm not really getting paid for it, but I'm okay with that because it makes me feel good to do it. So I could definitely see how that I kind of like twisted that and made it my own thing. But yeah, I thought about that at one point. I did. And I give the utmost accolades to people who go in that profession because I know it's a thankless job. You don't get paid a lot, but you carry a lot. So cool. Okay, here's the main one because we talked about this last week in my video. Creatives. Any person with ADHD, of course, creatives, musicians, artists, dancers, inventors, fashion designers, graphic designers, interior designer, architect. I'm gonna tell you right from this list, love music. So the musician thing, played the violin. Artist did graphic design, photography. I'm a writer. Uh, Still in my head, I'm a hip hop dancer. I just love watching hip hop dance videos. I've said it in other videos before. Um, Not a fashion designer, not a big fashion person. I like comfortable clothes. um, Actually, they have a mechanic down. I never thought of a mechanic as someone creative. Go figure. Hey, um, interior decorator. I do like decorating my room, my house. Where when I lived by myself, I did a lot more decorating. I like the house to feel like a home and feel like and look like it and feel like it when people walk in. So I can see that the creative thing. That's my thing. So I don't even have to explain that. And I was a baker, so and I still am a baker, but I need to go back and do this. Rosalind's Everyday Sweets. I need to do this again. It's on the agenda, just not this second. But yeah, I can see that. So I did that. Was left off being a baker too, and a chef, definitely. Now this is a weird one that I wouldn't have thought about, but I can kind of understand once I start looking at things. Ultra structured people, like military people. There are some people that are ADHD that thrive when they are ultra structured. There are certain parts of my life that I need to be ultra structured in order for me not to forget to do things, you know. So it's like I have a whiteboard on my wall right here, and I write down my goals and everything that I need to be working on. And I break it down even further in a software called Trello. I use Trello to break down even my YouTube channels so that I can keep track of my projects from start to finish, which in turn talks about project managers. I'm actually in the midst of taking Scrum certification next week, and I'm actually also doing Google project, certification. I've talked about that. So it's like, yeah, that's definitely me. That's that type of thing. I actually prefer agile, which is what Scrum is, over waterfall, which is what traditional project management is, because of the fact that the goals and the tasks are tighter, and you see a result quicker, and that just works for me. So it's like I already started the Google Project Management cert before the Agile, before I had a thought about Scrum and Agile, and then once I saw Scrum and Agile, I'm like, this may work for me better, but I still want to continue on also learning the traditional waterfall project management versus also agile. It's good to have both, you know. But anyway, it does talk about the ultra structured data analysts, lawyers, software testers, accountants, insurance claim adjusters. So out of those, the only one that I can identify with is, well, no, I lie. Project manager, yes. Did think about being a lawyer when I came out of undergrad. I don't know why I changed my mind, but I just was like, nah, I changed my mind. I'm good. I'm okay, you know. But anyway, so the final part is independent risk takers. And this is definitely, I can definitely identify with a few things in this part here. And it actually explains a lot about my interest in a certain area here. So they consider independent risk takers to be stockbrokers, professional athletes, entrepreneurs, um, software designers, race car drivers, airline pilots. Let me tell you out of this list the ones that I had an interest in. I still would love to fly a plane. I still would love it. That's an expensive hobby. Learning to fly a plane is an expensive hobby. If anyone would like to donate time to teach me how to fly a plane, I would I would love it, because that is something that I had an interest in. And this is coming from a person who at times could be a little sketchy about flying, but pretty much I'm okay with flying. But I think I would appreciate those air pockets or whatever you call them, and those bumps in the sky a little bit more if I could take over. Yeah. Stockbroker. I'm not a stockbroker, but I love dealing with stocks, which is weird because I always tell people I'm not a big math person, but on the other hand, I love investments. So I don't know how to explain that, but I'm very good on that. I don't know. I'm very intuitive when I pick stocks, but I'm really good at it. So I don't know what to say, you know. So, entrepreneur, definitely, that goes without saying. I will always be an entrepreneur, and it is in my blood, and I love it. So, I definitely identify with that. Software designer is a no. Even though I used to do HTML years ago, back in the days, and it's probably the reason I know how to create my own website, but actually being behind the scenes creating software has never appealed to me, but the IT side has appealed to me though. I did think about being like a desktop tech, stuff like that. And I still have an interest there. There's still an interest that is there in IT. And I've always been software based and hardware based when it concerns computers. And I think that's what makes it so easy for me to know, like if I don't know a software, to pick it up very quickly, or if when a computer breaks down, I can open it up and figure it out because I've been doing this for a long time and I have an interest there. So I do like taking stuff apart and getting in there and putting it back together. But anyway, I hope that this list of things will help you if you are trying to figure out what direction you want to go through in your life, because I'm telling you, there's a lot here to pick from, and there are a lot of things. There may be things that's not on this list that's your thing, and that's great. And if that's the case, put it in the comments below. Say, hey, none of those fit me, but this is what I found that worked for me, even though people may not think of it as something that somebody with ADHD would do. Totally cool. Totally fine. But anyway, this is this is it for today. And I'm so glad to bring this to you. I'm so glad I'm being consistent. My consistency in my YouTube makes my day. And I will be back next week before I go out of town. And I probably will do the following video from South Carolina. Yeah, probably so. So, anyway, I want to say thank you. Have a good day. Thank you for checking out my channel. And please like, please subscribe. And I will talk to you later. Bye.